what's okay in a marriage bed, what is not okay. Different positions in sex. People say sex toys, oral sex, all of these things. What is biblical? What is lawful? What is
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering what's biblical for those questions. It's exactly what I was thinking. So we have a fun clip here today, and we are going to break it down. And we have a special guest, so we're basically just gonna jump right into it. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. So, like I said, we have a special guest today. My bad. I forgot to take off the loop. It's a new intro song, so it's like, but yeah. So today we've got Helen. How you doing, Helen? Helen works with.
Good. How are you? How are you,
Good.
my friend?
Excellent, excellent.
It's
I
been a
know.
while since we did this. I'm excited.
Right? Yeah, it's been a minute. You know,
Yeah.
it's been kind of busy for everybody, I guess, lately, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, I know that I've been busy with work and other volunteer work I've been doing and stuff. So my life's pretty full. So
Yeah.
I almost forgot I was doing this today.
Yeah,
And then I looked at my
okay.
calendar. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing a podcast today.
Right. Yeah, I felt bad the other day. I had Skeptics and Scoundrels on, and we were actually scheduled to go like the week before. And he was like, "All right, man, we ready to go?" And I'm like, "Holy shit!" I was like, I don't know what the hell happened." And I was
It's
like,
okay.
"No." He was like, "Can we do next week?" I was like, "Yes, please. Let's just do next week." So, but he was cool about it. But yeah, dude, it's just so hard to keep track of a lot of this stuff. Honestly,
Yeah, like if I don't use
So
a
many things.
calendar and set myself a reminder, I will forget. Unless it's like absolutely like I do it every week. If it's something that I just handle on random, I'm always like, what am I doing? Like I have something this weekend. I know I do,
Right.
but I forget what
Exactly.
it is.
Yeah, and the dates are like in my head, but I'm like, no, but yes, like I don't know. Yeah, it's hard if I don't
Oh, for
put it in the
sure.
calendar, like you said. But so today we got this clip that is, let's see, well, it's like what sex is allowed in a marriage based on the Bible, which is I'm sure the question on everybody's mind. What does the Bible
Oh
say
yeah,
about sex?
that's all I think about when I'm getting down is how is this okay in the Bible?
Right?
Such
Like
a
what would
turn
they?
on.
Yeah. Who would be offended by this? That's what I want to. God, how fucking weird. But all right, so this is this guy. Okay, so a little quick rundown on this dude. His name's Vlad, if I'm not mistaken, and he is in this little group with Greg Locke. Like Greg Locke, kind of like switched directions more recently, and he went
Mm-mm.
from being like ultra MAGA political, right? I mean, he is still those things, but he kind of made this turn into like demon obsession land, right? So like now he's like with all of the demon obsession people. And this dude is one of the people that were on his little deliverance tour things, and they made like a documentary about them all and everything.
Oh, they
And so,
did.
yeah, it's called
I
like
didn't see.
it was like come out in the name of Jesus or something like that.
Oh, oh my god.
And yeah, it's like 7 people, and it was crazy because I've covered all of them, and I'm like, holy shit, they're all in the same video. This is weird, but you know, it's a whole thing. I don't know, but yeah. So we're gonna get into let's see hear what this demon guy has to say about sex. Here we go.
is okay? This is what we wanted to address. We're going to highlight 4 things that are not okay in a marriage bed. First scripture that we would like to read is Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4.
Marriage is honorable among all, and the bed undefiled, but fornicators and adulterers God will judge.
The Greek word translated undefiled is usually used in this exact form 4 times in the New Testament, and it means uncontaminated or set apart. There are many.
Yeah, I'd imagine that they would have it categorized as contaminated or not. You know, it's kind of like their whole bag, isn't it? What?
Like, do I
Let's
need
see.
a
Well,
hazmat suit to have sex? Or if it's contaminated?
contaminant. I know, right? It has this really weird connotation to it. It's like, okay. I mean, and it's funny because it's like we still use the term that was dirty. That was
Yeah.
dirty. You know, it's like that
So
was some
weird.
contaminated sex right there. That was great.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Wolfo said, hey, Wolfo said, this guy is a bizarre little character on the interwebs. He is. He is. He's fascinating.
Wow.
I really enjoy like
Wow.
seeing what he comes up with to talk about, you know. Let's see. Worm Fruit said, what type of sex is allowed in marriage? Obviously, missionary is reserved for missionaries. Of course, right? And holy men are supposed to stay single, so anything else except missionary is allowed in marriage. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's some solid logic there, honestly. Yeah.
That sounds legit.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I remember like different we went to this one conference called True Love Waits conference, and it
Isn't
was
there a
just,
movie named that?
is there
A
really?
I think there's a god awful movie named that.
Oh, you're probably right. Okay, I could
Okay,
see that. Yeah.
I've heard that before, so I think I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to check the pod, but
Okay, yeah, let me know because I think you're right, actually. You know, because it just sounds like that's almost like something in the ether, like that was bound to happen, right, at some point.
yes,
You know what I mean? Like, right? Uh, but yeah, and it was just very awkward. You know, we were all these like like 15, 16-year-old kids and like going to this conference and some old white guy talking to us about like, you know, sex and everything. And it wasn't like, I mean, he did go into like what you're not supposed to do, but a lot of it was just like, I almost like wondered if the reason that he picked that topic was because he could have so many jokes. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause
right.
it was just kind of like a stand-up set, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, and sex is bad unless you're married," but like, you know, but it was just a bunch of stories and jokes and stuff. And I was like, well, at least this
So
is
there, it
entertaining.
is a movie. I
Oh,
remember
shit.
correctly. I hasn't been reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes, which
Really?
says
Oh, that's
something.
God. Even Rotten Tomatoes, like, nope, we're not even fucking watching that. We're not even gonna check. Jeez,
Oh.
that's funny.
All right, I'm sure this is going to be very, very steamy. The stuff he's going to talk about.
Yeah, let's see the contaminated sex.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna share 4 things that are not okay. Sexual immorality is having sex with someone other than your spouse.
Yeah.
And here are those 4 things.
Really?
Number one is adultery,
So it's when you are having sex with somebody else while you are
including
married.
including
What can I'm gonna need you to break that definition down further. What is adultery again? Like what are you doing, man? Why?
Oh. Well, listen, there's just some, you know, he is speaking to his audience, and
That's a good point.
we have to like ease them into these things, you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure they weren't told every week in Sunday school, like, you know, adultery is bad.
exactly
Don't
what
cheat.
yeah, exactly what adultery is, but let's rehash it again. Jeez Louise.
false it's adultery, and it's very common in our
It's
culture.
becoming
It
common
is common.
in our
Yeah,
culture
that's right.
where
That's very
people switch
Why are
spouses.
they so soft spoken? I feel like he's never been this soft spoken. They are deeply uncomfortable right now. That's what this
Which
is.
the effects of purity culture.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
unhealthy.
It's amazing. Like the volume on their voices, both of them. I've heard them talk about plenty of different things. The volume's at like 25% of what they
Right.
usually speak at. You know, it's so weird.
Oh,
That's so
Or
funny.
swap spouses
Yes.
temporarily to have better experiences. It's not biblical,
Yeah.
and it's an adultery. The
How
second
is
thing,
It's
how
called
is it an
swinging.
adultery if it's consent? Like if you're saying, "Hey, we can sleep with different people," and you set up rules and boundaries, and
Right.
how is it adultery? Like that wasn't stated in the text.
No, because consent really never comes into it, honestly.
Right.
As far as they're concerned, like consent's not even really a thing, So it's like,
Yeah.
you're right. It is weird because like they don't even consider that. It's just, is it not according to these fucking very specific rules in the Bible? regardless if it's consensual or not, it's still just, contaminated.
All right, and that's bad. Get your hazmat suits, everybody.
Right. That's right. It's toxic. Jesus.
What's not okay in a marriage bed is
What is that?
threesomes. Threesomes
Three-
is when you
threesome.
bring
What?
one more person into bed. I actually seen Christians.
Bring one more person into bed. That's right.
Oh.
Now do foursomes, fivesomes, or sixsomes. I don't know. That's when you have 2 or 3 or 4 people. Sorry, just the way he talks is cracking me.
I know.
It's like, so his explanation stuff is just so like unnecessary. But it's great.
Christians justify that as
just-
they will.
Like there is this sort of thing where they'll take one piece of scripture and then, even though it's not said in the text, and just expand on it, because everybody does this, no matter what denomination you belong to, you just start putting your own shit into it to make your particular set of silly rules fit.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that is, I mean, honestly, the that's almost my favorite part about doing this is kind of like seeing like, okay, how are they going to square this fucking circle today?
Right.
'cause
Exactly.
It's kind of fun because you can see the fucking like how it goes in their brain, and it's all starting from a reverse order of all the things that I need to think are true. Now let's work our way backward. All right.
Right,
Now let's
exactly.
justify this, like, and then they think that it's that you can't justify stuff because how can you even know if logic works if you don't know where it came from, and shit like that.
Right.
It's just like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. Like, you got to know you're being dumb right now, right? Like, come on, what are you doing? Jesus.
Adorable.
That's a great word for it. It's I find the Christian awkwardness around sex kind of cute.
Is she the only fan?
They should bring this energy to OnlyFans.
Oh, I love it.
That is brilliant.
Oh my God, warm food. That's great.
That's right. That's where this would really take off. On OnlyFans. That's so awesome. Let's see. Warm Fruit said, I'm jealous, but at least my kitty is extra snuggly when it's cold. That's right.
Aw.
Hey, I get it. I got a puppet.
Kitty love could be some of the best love.
Yeah.
So
It's it's a special kind of love. That's right.
yeah, don't make it weird though.
No, nothing like that. It's different. It's different.
It's different. I can't. Do I need that disclaimer? No, hope not.
Like, not into that. Okay. Like, some things are contaminated. All right. Some things are contaminated. And doing that to animals is, but mostly because of consent, because they can't consent.
Yeah, you can't. No, they can't consent.
But that's not a thing that these people consider. So
Yeah.
I guess it'd be fine to them. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Not a person. It's not a third person in the bed, technically. So I'm just, Jesus.
Jacob had Rachel and Leah,
Mm-hmm.
so he was married to 2 women,
Right.
and therefore it's okay to bring one more person into bed to practice threesomes.
To practice
you have to
threesomes?
understand-
What?
It's a practice. It's like meditation. You got to get good at it. It's a daily practice.
He totally contradicted what he just said with that verse. Like, because someone in the Bible had 2 wives, that's okay.
Then that
But-
makes it. What?
But previously, it's like only like it was adulterous and contaminated. Like, so it contradicts, because you're only supposed to have sex with your spouse in their weird,
Yeah.
silly rules book.
But that same silly rules
But
book
there's
is like,
but they're gonna be like, well, I can get another wife.
yeah, that's fine. I can purchase another piece of property that happens to be my God. Yeah, because they don't, a lot of these stories, they don't see women as even people, really.
Right.
They're just like,
Yeah,
property
I have to remember I'm not supposed to be talking right now.
right. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's why I'm surprised she's even there, but you can tell
I
she's
am.
like, am I allowed to speak yet? And he's like, you can speak. She's like, okay, now it's my turn to speak because he said I
Okay,
could.
thank you, Master.
Yeah. Jeez.
So Jacob
Woo.
did practice polygamy. It's not God's original intent,
Mm-hmm.
but Jacob did not have sex with Rachel and with Leah.
At the same time.
How do you know that?
She's like, at the same time, too, there's a temporal consideration to have here. Look, what are you doing?
How does he know that?
I know they're not going to say that. Like, and we all had sex at different times. So just make sure that's written down there. Scribe, you got it. Different times we had sex. All right, cool.
And
You know,
that makes it okay. Like,
yeah, as long as you don't do it all at the same time. Like, because this is inappropriate. There's
oh
too
my
many people in
God.
this room. This tent is full.
Christianity is so weird.
That's awesome.
Threesomes is sexual immorality. It is wrong. Even if your spouse agrees with it, if your spouse agrees with it, they are crazy. And if you think
Wow.
The guy that's like talking about how undetectable monsters are everywhere should not be talking about other people being crazy, man.
I'm just sitting here. I'm like, why? This guy should just go tell me to fuck myself.
I know, right?
Like, well, I guess I'm crazy.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy to want to do I don't know, whatever. Like
It's
probably
so
the most
silly.
common.
Okay, well, he is the arbiter of what's okay with, you gotta listen to this guy.
Yeah, he's got the rules down to the fucking verse, man. Like, let's see. So, Wolfo said, so 3 is cool if polygamy is an option. Yes, I think that's where they're going. As long as you don't have sex at the same time. Like,
No, it's separately.
yeah, is there 2 wives, 2 separate rooms? Keep it separate. Don't want to don't want everybody in the same room. It gets too confusing. But let's see. She's there as a prop. A married Christian man has to show off his wife with a weird age gap to prove how good at the Jesus sex he is. That's like it's gross how accurate that is. Because yep. I see this happen constantly. They're just like who's the one guy? The shofar guy. He brings this little tiny horn everywhere. Enlow. Johnny Enlow.
Oh. No, I'm listening.
Oh, sorry. No, Johnny Enlow. He always just brings his wife on to like Elijah lists, and she just sits there. She just sits there. He did, she's like she doesn't speak maybe she'll maybe say like 2 sentences the whole time, out of like hours.
Yeah,
it's
and
just weird.
That's weird. Like that they had a conversation before. Like, you have to agree with everything I say, okay?
Yeah, basically, right. Let me make sure I break down exactly like how everything works, just so you know how to agree with me, right?
Right. Can't have your own opinion. Sorry, have to go by the Bible.
Right. So you really should be keeping quiet.
Yes, it's very important.
Jesus, it's funny too. Like, have you ever heard like the response to that? Like, women should keep quiet. I've heard like a bunch of apologists will say that was only for one time in one church service where women kept asking questions.
No, good. No. Because no.
Wow.
No.
Okay, man.
Because the Bible is full of, treating women as second-class citizens. They're only good for sex. They're the arbiter of, like, if you want to fuck, it's her fault.
Right.
That, yeah, it's all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it was like, oh no, they saw women as equals. It's just, the planet didn't realize it until after humanists had to be like, hey, what the fuck? And then Christians were like, oh no, this was the way it was the whole time. What the fuck? Well, no, it wasn't. Like,
No.
you were the problem. Like, you were the reason we had to do this. Okay. But
right, it's like we're still fighting for our rights. So obviously, no, we're not equal.
Oh yeah, it's because of these people. It's like, Jesus.
got that idea, you are also crazy. And if a third person is on board with that, you have 3 of you
That
are
are crazy.
crazy. Yeah. The marriage
Just keep calling people crazy, man. It's hard. You can't do that. You
is
shouldn't.
supposed
Let's see. Commander said Johnny Enlow is a buffoon. Yeah, he absolutely is. It's quite funny. Like, he was one of the few that there was only like a couple apologists it seemed that like really leaned into the Q thing, and he was fucking one of them. Like, holy shit! I was like, wow, man, and like he's just saying stuff that's just so insane. Like, I was waiting for like him to be like, and everybody's also lizard aliens controlling everything, and they're Jewish. Like that's what I was waiting for.
What? Oh,
Like, he's so stupid.
and anti-Semitism too. That's nice.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that's baked in, pretty much to every conspiracy for whatever reason. But it is I don't know. It's like people really are afraid of those folks for some reason.
Supposed to be between.
I have not
two
seen this
people.
guy, but I'm sure
No?
it's very entertaining. I had to look up who he is, but
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's ridiculous. I think we covered him a couple of times on Left of the
Yeah.
Valley back in the day, but yeah. He's almost one of those where it's like so insane that you're like, I don't even know. Like, is this like being mean? Like, is he not, have it all together? Am I making
right,
fun
yeah.
of
It's sometimes it's hard to somewhat. Sometimes it's hard to tell if, like we all know, belief is just indoctrination. It's because you're told from a young age, and those neurons but then it goes into, people talk to God. God is downloading, and then they start making free associations, like heart-shaped rocks is proof of the flood, where things like that, and it's just like, okay, you're on a different level than I am.
Right. Yeah. And that's why like I said, like sometimes I'm like, should I be making fun of this person? But for the most part, they're like harmful, and we need to point out that they are harmful. So
Yeah,
even
even said by someone that's mentally unwell, if they have a platform, people are listening to them, and it might take them seriously. Start believing that if you're Jewish, you're also a lizard person.
Exactly.
Because thank you. Just that doesn't work. Anyway, we're getting off track. Let's listen to these motherfuckers.
Right now, it's all good.
Not a whole neighborhood. Now, the third thing that's not okay in
Hold on, I'm
marriage
sorry.
is
What was it about the neighborhood?
that marriage is supposed to be between two people,
Yes.
not a whole neighborhood. Now, the third thing that's not okay in marriage is
Is watching porn.
Oh my goodness.
Watching porn with your spouse is a virtual threesome and virtual idolatry.
What?
What?
How is it virtual? Wow.
So so by their logic, if you watch like a horror movie,
It's virtual murder on your
virtual murder.
Jeez, you can just throw the word virtual in front of it. Like, holy, come on, man. What? Wow. And you see, he like drifted off. Like, he was like, okay, and the third thing is that you can't. And she's like, look at porn, okay? Because you need to, Vlad, God damn it. You need to stop looking at that porn. Like she totally took over at that part, and he's looking down like, fuck, I do it sometimes. I do.
Oh, he's
bad. It's bad.
He probably goes to Pornhub and watches some threesome sex, and then he feels very bad about it, and then he prays to God, like, please forgive me for watching the threesome sex.
Comes back and apologizes to her, and then God.
Yep.
no. I have
awesome.
Mentored or prayed for some couples who one spouse came and said, we want to introduce marriage into our marriage pornography. So we're
My marriage
using
into
this
your marriage.
who forces a wife to watch pornography and then to reenact that.
Oh, let me see. Commander said the reason. Oh wait, wrong one. Hold on, let me do that one again. Even the girl-defined girls, which are really popular YouTubers, instantly turn into stage props when their husbands are around. I don't think I've ever seen that phenomenon yet. That's interesting.
Especially from their videos. I would say from like 2018, 2019 when they got married. They start bringing their husbands on, or even when they were courting, on talking about it. But what's funny is Bethany's husband is going through deconstruction. Like, it's very interesting watching them communicate. It's crazy. Like, he starts talking about like existentialism and like,
nice.
Yeah, you can see, because he went to real therapy.
No, really?
He went to real therapy, and once you start realizing that your ideas are just what they are, their ideas, they don't actually reflect reality. It's like, yeah,
and that you're trying, like you're like you're trying so hard to like rationalize this reality and like shove this square peg into the circle hole that
Yeah.
it's costing you your marriage. You know what I mean? Like it's costing you your relationships because this doesn't fucking line up with how the world works, you know? It's
I do
interesting.
like both me and Brent have ADHD, so there's just going to be tangents.
Oh yeah,
Like-
no, yeah, honestly, yeah, I feel bad for everybody, but like, yeah, no, this, I feel like they got to be used to this by now.
Yeah,
I
right.
can't, you know, yeah, I can't keep on topic to save my fucking life. It's all good. That's good.
In their marriage bed, it's wrong. It's a sin, and it's an open door
Yes.
to demons. So
It's,
watching porn,
it's an open door to demons. Of course, everything's an open door to demons. You know, that's what's gonna happen.
That's how I became poly. I watched some poly porn, and then boom, the poly demon just.
Called to you, yeah. The
That's how that
poly demon.
works.
That's funny. Polyamorous actually sounds like a demon name. Just say it.
It
You know?
does. It
I
does.
am polyamorous.
Amorous.
Yeah. Like a Greek demon or some shit. I don't know. But Commander said,
He shows up like a toga. He shows up in like a toga. Like,
yeah, drinking like out of a coconut and shit.
Yeah.
Like a little umbrella. I don't know why that's, but anyway. Commander 401 says, the reason why my avatar is a penguin is to poke fun at flat Earth. I'm Jewish and I'm the commander of the Galactic Space Penguin Federation. No, really? The Space Penguin Federation.
Federation.
Nice.
I mean, that's how we have the space lasers, the Jewish space lasers.
There's fucking penguins. This is
Penguins.
Jewish penguins. Like always wearing their little tuxedos.
Muzzle top.
Yeah. That's awesome. I gotta skip
Oh my
down a little
goodness.
bit. Wolfo says sounds like one of them cheated, and now they are saved. So now they now demonize it. The projection is strong.
Oh,
It could be, yeah.
it could be, yeah.
That's something that happens pretty frequently. I'd say, right? Let's see. Wormfruit said a schizophrenic person. As a schizophrenic person, I find it disturbing how slandered crazy people are when they aren't Christian, but when they are Christian, they have the gift. Yeah, most pastors have a lot of traits. One and two. Let me see two. Traits, characteristics of
Yeah.
trauma and psychosis. Yeah, exactly. It is funny how it works like that, right? Like it's just you're crazy if you're, like thinking things are real that aren't, as if the as long as it doesn't apply to a religion, that's fine. That's normal. You're allowed to make up your own reality if
Yeah.
you're religious.
And also it depends on, like, some people will say like, oh, they're infected with demons, or on the other side they'll say like, the angels are talking to you, or God, when people get into these states, and it's really toxic. It's so bad because you need to help people that have these conditions, because their brain is just different, and these people kind of put a toxic specialness onto it, whether it's demons or angels or God. It's still a
Right.
very, very bad thing to do, because it can lead to people harming themselves, harming others, or lead to all types of unable to have like normal relationships, and boundaries get pushed, and it's all types of bad.
Yeah.
When this type of stuff happens, when people don't get mental health care.
Right. And it's funny too, because as a huge voter bloc in this country that is religious, I almost wonder, because I feel like there would be some kind of, like, if you're paying a particular like a normal amount of money for your health insurance, I
Mhm.
feel like if we lived in a country that valued mental health more and didn't demonize going to your therapist and stuff like that,
Mhm.
like we would actually have coverage, for mental health, which we don't really have. Like even on like a pretty good plan, it's not covered at all. Like you have a deductible of like $2,500 that you have to get to before anything's covered.
Under my insurance, I get 12 sessions
12 sessions, okay,
for the year,
oh, that's not
so
bad.
it's decent.
That's pretty
what-
good, actually.
but like for someone, I mean, like for someone that's kind of on a steady plan to deal with my depression and anxiety and ADHD, but that took a long time to get there. you know, and I still occasionally will go back into therapy because like learn new coping skills, or I need someone to talk to. But I'm aware of my issues. I know what my problems are, you know, and the way my brain is. Some people don't, and like some people need years of therapy. Like especially if you have like a personality disorder, it's not going to get solved in like one session. You know, it's gonna be a long time to work out the trauma and work learning trust and learning how to have healthy relationships. You know, it's hard.
Yeah. It's a lot of like trying to figure out how to do stuff, like, but it's so unbelievably helpful. Like if you like, I struggled with particular like chemical dependencies and stuff like that.
Mhm.
All, you know, throughout my whole life. I got in a car accident, had paid, so I've like kind of dealt with that my whole life. And it was like it felt impossible to get out of these kind of cycles of addiction and everything. Until somebody was like, here's how you do it. And then it was just so fucking easy. And you're like, oh my God, I wish I'd have known this before. Like if I'd only known this, you know, it would, you know, before it would have been, if I'd have known that it would be this easy if I knew how to do it. But
Right.
most people just don't know how to do it because it's hard, you know. It's
You need the right
knock yourself
tools,
out.
and
Yes.
you need the support, and you need someone to kind of, you know, help you guide through like why do you think you drink so much, you know, and guide you through, you know, what the trauma is, because because the like everything we do has some kind of benefit, even if it's destructive. It's still, there's some kind of benefit we're getting from it, you
Right.
know, even if it's toxic and it's not good behavior. And the thing with religion is that it affects the same part of the brain, you know, because you see a lot of people that, you know, they get over addiction and they move into religion because it affects the same part,
Yeah.
you know, those dopamine dumps, you know, and they replace, you know, one substance with, you know, another substance, which is, you know, that dopamine effect, that community effect of religion, you know, and that and which is also tells you lies about yourself and that you're damaged and, you know, all that toxic stuff, which is unhealthy. That's why they like addicts.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, that seems to be, to me, like what causes a lot of addiction, because if you're conditioned to believe that that you can't make it on your own, you're always going to need something. If you're like, there is a God-shaped hole in your heart, there's God-shaped hole, and you're just telling people that over and over and over, that gets into your like subconscious. And even though it's not true, it doesn't really matter if the person believes it's true. Who cares if it's true or not? If the person thinks that it is, you know, then they're going to think that it is, regardless of like whether it's true or not. And so that, I think, leads to, well, I'm broken, so therefore I should just do this to numb that, you know, pain. And you're right, religion functions very much like addiction. It's just because addiction, what it does is, it's fascinating because it actually takes your common experience that you experience all the time and brings it down to discomfort, so that you only come back up to normal comfort when you're doing whatever it is. And religion is no different. It like makes you feel crappy about yourself, like, oh, I'm always sinning and doing all this stuff, and then they bring you back, they boost you back up to just normal, when they're like, hey, we forgave you for all this stuff, all for making you feel all crappy about all that stuff. You're forgiven now. All right, now go live your week and feel bad about yourself, and then come back and feel normal. You know, but it's not actually a good feeling. It's just you're lying to yourself into believing that it's a good feeling, because you're making yourself feel worse all the time, just like nicotine, you know.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to explain, but
no, it's because you feel bad and then you feel shame, and then like you go to church, and then they're like, it's okay, you know, you're forgiven, you know, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
it's all the same stuff.
That dopamine boost, right? You're back up to like feeling normal. It's weird how it works like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Carrie's here. Hey, Carrie said 401 was the only good takeaway from the combo, in my opinion, using our devices to attend appointments. Jesus. Oh, thank you. Yeah. See, religion is an addiction. I totally agree. Because that was what snapped me out of my addictions, was realizing that I'm believing false beliefs about it. It's like a learned behavior with a chemical teacher. And if you just realize that the chemical is actually lying to you to get you to behave in certain ways so that it can get what it, you know, craves, then it's really easy to get your, you know, snap out of it, you know.
Right.
But yeah, but it takes a lot. Like you really kind of need to be slow walked out of it, because otherwise you're just stuck in a loop that you're never going to figure out that you're in. You know, you're just in this fucking maze going around in circles
Right.
until someone's like, hey, all you got to do is quit believing the bullshit, man. And they're like, oh, here's the way out. Perfect. All right, I'm done. This is great. You know, so it's but yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But here we go. All right.
To spice up your marriage bed is you're inviting demons into your marriage bed. You're inviting fantasies that are not real.
Mhm.
I mean,
And we have
depends who you're doing a threesome with, really. You know, because
Yeah,
I mean, I
like-
got there are some demons out there. You know?
Listen, I'm pretty sure the demons know what they're doing. Like, I feel like there'd be some freaky sex going on if there's some demons sitting in your bed.
Right? So, yeah, they've been around. You know,
They've been around.
it's in the ancient Greek sex, like they know all the tricks, man.
Yep.
I have an interview with an ex-porn star.
Yeah.
You can watch it, and this is not how real sex is. These are called
Yes.
performers.
What?
These are not
As
Yes.
opposed to
okay?
pretend sex, he's
So-
like, that's how pretend sex is, but not how real sex is. Okay, real sex sucks and it's boring.
Well, also too, but like, I mean, I do agree with this. Like, you know, porn isn't real sex. You know, like how the average person has
Right.
sex. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
and I
good.
agree with that. But but I know that I still like to watch it.
Yeah, right.
I can have both. I can have both. Like, again, like I watch a movie. I know that's not really happening, but I'm entertained.
Right, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like that's like saying don't watch the Avengers. That's not real.
Right.
People don't actually have superpowers, so don't even watch. Like I can still have fun, right? Watching the
Right.
fucking thing. What the hell? Jesus.
So and it takes days to make a 40-minute video, and there's a lot of editing that's involved there.
How do we get into
It's not
It's not
Editing.
how
real, yeah.
marriage is. It's made for entertainment,
Mm.
godless
Yep.
entertainment.
Okay, got
it's
it.
not made to be an example.
Mhm.
And if you take that as an example for your marriage, it's pretty much a sure way to destroy your marriage. It's literally trying to fix a porn problem by
Porn problem.
reenacting pornography in
Mhm.
marriage, but it's
Mhm.
wrong. The third,
It's a
Okay, dude.
Okay, but if you're reenacting the porn in your bedroom,
I-
how could that be bad? Like you're saying that they're taking like so they're just doing something like, hey, that looks like fun, and then they're doing it in the marriage bed, and they're like, shouldn't be doing that because it's like you're parroting what the fucking fake shit is. Like
Right.
what the hell is happening? Dumb. Yeah, it's-
Also, too, like, okay, so you can get ideas from porn, you know, and like you can talk to your partner and be like, hey, that looks, we haven't tried that. Want to try that, or whatever. And I
Yeah.
think that's good. I think that's good because
Absolutely.
especially people that have come from like purity culture and they've let go of the toxic ideas about sexuality. I think it'd be
Right.
really healthy for them. But he's just kind of, well, if you do anything that isn't just fucking your spouse, and if
Yeah.
you can't be stimulated by other people, you can't find other people attractive, because you're committing adultery in your brain. Like,
It's just the most boring, or demons though. So
or demons. It's demons. Just accept
My
it.
goodness. Yeah. Wow, that's so sad. I feel so bad for you.
I,
It's like,
I
you're
do.
right.
I feel bad for them too. I'm like, God, you're boring.
And there's nothing cooler. I'm sorry. There's few things cooler than discovering a fucking kink that you didn't know there was other people into, and you're like, holy shit, this is all. There's a whole fucking wow. There's a whole thread. This is a category. This is a category on the thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing cooler than figuring that shit out, man. That is just fun for days.
Right.
Eventually you got to move on to another category, but it's, you can make your way back to it. It's fun.
It's just, I think that these ideas that are put into people's brains isn't healthy for them. It just kind of, it's not healthy for them because they don't have a good relationship with sex, and that's why it's so toxic. And then they spread like, well, I don't have a good relationship with sex, so nobody can have a good relationship with sex.
Exactly. Yeah, it's my way or demons.
Or demons. It's the demons.
I mean, that's literally, that should just be like religion in general. It should just be religion colon my way or fucking demons.
Or
Like
fucking
that's
demons.
it's a bumper sticker version of what this is.
The fourth
Fourth one.
wrong thing
Oh,
in
the
a
fourth.
marriage bed is
Rape. All
Okay, well,
non-consensual sex.
consensual.
Consensual sex.
oh, good. Okay, I was
Okay,
not.
all right.
I'm actually kind of surprised they went here. I'm eye to eye, dude. Totally. Gotcha.
Is rape, whether in marriage or not.
And I'll
I hope
mention
this
First
video
Corinthians
doesn't get taken down though, because they're using all these fucking buzzwords.
chapter 7, verses 1
Yeah,
through
it's
5 deals with giving.
Oh, First Corinthians. Oh, so wow, he's trying to say that's interesting because he's trying to say that there are parts of the Bible that are like, hey, you should care about the consent of the piece of property that you own. Whatever, that seems so strange because I really don't remember seeing a whole lot about consent in the Bible,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I think they parsed
Yeah,
it out somehow.
I think to be fair, they're because they're interpreting the way that they want. Because you'll hear like the transformed wife, and she says that there's no such thing as marital SA,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, it doesn't exist, and her particular, well, her husband's view of marriage and rules that she's adopted,
Oh,
she's self-misogynized herself, because of the influence of her husband. But these are the ideas that I've heard her say, and
right.
at least they're saying it's not okay. And
Right.
I'm on a thumbs up for that. Good job.
Right.
You did
Exactly.
you cleared the bare minimum.
Right. Oh shoot! Looks like my screen stopped working for some reason. Let me see if I can stop my camera.
I am gonna eat my pancakes though, because I'm
Oh,
hungry.
that's all right. Yeah, it's I get it. I don't mind if my camera's going down for some reason. Yeah, it's all right. We'll finish up here.
Giving satisfaction in sex,
Mhm.
not demanding it or forcing a spouse
Yes.
to have sex with you. The Bible does not give that permission to
Mhm.
demand sex.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, when it
I don't know if I agree on the Bible part, but I'm glad that you are saying this at least. You
Don't
know.
you have to pay her dad though, like some silver?
Yeah, well, I mean that is, yeah, that is a part of the. Let's see, that's sort of the problem here. It's like there's Old Testament verses that say stuff like that. There are other verses that say that if there's a man that does that, they get put to death. But people most of the time take that as they're talking about PDF file type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not the same thing as because I think but then the people like Ray Comfort will rationalize that and say that, oh no, that's just a shotgun wedding. That's if they're discovered and they do actually love each other, but they're not married or whatever the fuck. But that's doesn't seem like that's what they were saying because they seen it. It's
They like
you know
because they have to do these mental gymnastics because if you
yeah.
read the Bible, there's some really fucked up shit in there, and they're like, well, I really want to believe that I'm super special, and there's this sky daddy that takes care of me, this magical wizard in the sky, and so I have to do these mental gymnastics because I live in the modern world,
Right.
and Bronze Age ideas don't fit in the modern world,
Exactly. Yeah. So exactly, they're continuously starting from a conclusion and working their way backwards
right,
to try to make sense out of nonsense.
right.
Which, yeah, so it's literally required to think this type of stuff. Sad.
Right, and
it comes to things like different positions in sex, people say sex toys, oral sex, all of these things. What is biblical? What is lawful? What is okay? This is what we wanted to address.
tell us,
We want to
tell us,
point out
Obi-Wan.
I know. I know, right? So, and I wonder if they can say that these things are bad.
Right.
Like what? Who gives a shit? It's like, oh, if you have sex different ways, oh man, that's bad. If you use toys, evil. What? Like weird, man. Why?
I
to give
because there are like there's a plenty of Christian believers that are doing some freaky stuff in bed. We know it because
Oh
there's
yeah,
always sex scandals with them, so we all know they're doing it.
all the time. Yep. There was that documentary about the pool boy and
Mhm.
fuck, what
I
was
saw
his
that.
name? Jerry Falwell Jr. Remember that documentary?
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And they talked about Paula White and the pool boy guy that was being interviewed on the thing. She's the lady that was like, and strike and strike and strike and strike. You know, that lady. They did like he said. He's like, dude, that lady was hitting on me like crazy, like grabbing my crotch and doing all the like. They're all like sex crazy
Easy.
people, but they're
Yeah,
playing
that's
pretend. It's like,
and
damn.
that's the thing that's so damaging is because then again you don't have a healthy relationship with sex because I am like as long as like consenting adults as long as you're not hurting anybody I don't care,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
me too.
consent
That
is
was fun.
key. What you do in your bedrooms your own damn business, I don't care. But when it gets to the point like you know you it like because they're like these religious symbols and then the sex scandal comes out and they're like, oh my god, I'm going to lose all this money, I'm going to lose, you know, my position of the rules that I set up.
Yeah. The rules to keep everybody else chasing their tail finally caught up
Right.
with them, you know? Yeah, because
Yeah.
that tends to be what it is, you know? They're just like, if I set the rules, then they all just try to follow them, and then I can do whatever I want while they're all looking at the jingly keys.
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Let's see. Wormfood said, from my research, the Bible is way less strict about sex than this. Depending on how you cherry pick, the Old Testament draws the line at incest, and New
Right.
Testament just hates all sex. Yeah,
Mhm.
I could
Yep.
see that. It's like you said, it's a lot to go through, but they do mention it quite a bit. But mostly, it seems to be a tool to shame people. You know.
Well, Paul was the original incel, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yo, that's very accurate. Yes.
Like none of these girls want to have sex with me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say that Jesus said that I have to be pure.
That's it, basically. You know, yeah. All right, then nobody gets sex. God damn it! Like that's, if I can't do it,
If I can't
nobody
get my
can.
penis wet, nobody can get their penis wet.
That's right. And it's funny you said that. Like he basically was just making up saying that Jesus said stuff because that
Yeah,
seems like most of what Paul did. Like he did
yeah.
not quote. Like if you actually look at the times that he quotes Jesus, that Paul quotes Jesus, it's only 3 times. It's all
Mhm.
in Corinthians, and one time is you shouldn't get divorced. So on topic with what you think right there with the insult
All right.
thing. Second one is you got to pay your preacher, okay, because of course, right? You know. And then the third one is the Last Supper. He does sort of quote the Last Supper at one point, and that's it though. He doesn't quote Jesus at all, and it seems like a lot of the rules that he is stating have nothing to do with anything Jesus ever said. He's just using Jesus as a method to get people to believe his thing, you know.
Well, I mean, if you masturbate, baby Jesus cries. So don't do that.
I mean, it is like the threat of making baby Jesus cry all the time.
Yeah.
You know, that was his method, the original. That's
Goodness
all.
sake.
You 3 questions to ask before, if it's not
Yeah.
adultery,
Mhm.
if it's not adultery,
Okay, one.
if it's not bringing another person or bringing a pornography, or
Mhm.
it's not rape where you're forcing somebody,
Yeah.
what about some other sexual expressions in bed? And so we want to ask you to ask 3 questions. If you're thinking, well, can we, 3 questions to ask. Question number one.
Is it prohibited in the scripture?
Mhm. If it's not, assume it's permitted. If it's not prohibited in the
Mhm.
scripture, and it's between you and your spouse,
Mhm.
you can assume in a married bed it is permitted.
Mhm.
So if it's not adultery, if you're not bringing some sexual fantasies into a marriage bed, if you're not,
Hold on, but like, wouldn't the fantasies include the toys and stuff that you're saying are fine? Like, you know
I,
what I mean? Like, I don't get how this works. If you get the idea from the porn, does that make just the concept itself within the marriage wrong? Like, how does this work?
I, I don't know.
They're raising more questions than they are answering here.
Right.
forcing your spouse, and if you're not bringing somebody else, you can assume it's pretty much permitted. First Corinthians
Mhm.
chapter 6 verse 12.
It says, "All things are lawful for me, but all things are not helpful."
I do not think that's what this verse is about.
No.
Okay. All right. We're gonna apply it to see, this is the fun that you could have when you don't care about what's real. If you're just interpreting some like
Mhm.
cryptic book, you can have so much fun with that sucker. It's like a puzzle, but there's no wrong answers.
Right.
You know?
And also, like, and this is the thing that's so frustrating. It's like, once you adopt like an atheist worldview and you like all this toxic shit, you realize like sex is like one of the most awesome things we do as human beings. And
Right.
but this type of stuff, all purity culture stuff, you have to do all these mental gymnastics.
Yes.
Like instead of like, just using sex toys, while you're even if it's within the confines of your marriage, that's fine. That's your choice. But
Yeah.
even though, like, what does scripture say about sex toys? It doesn't say anything about sex toys because, well,
No.
they existed.
Yeah.
but no, but I don't think God cares if you use a dildo during sex.
Look, yeah, God's like, hold on. No. You guys isn't lube either. No, we're not making this easy for you. Okay.
No,
you
right.
You need to suffer
Listen,
through this.
And you have to wonder, like, like there's children dying of cancer, and then like God's like, well, I won't save children, but I'm very, very concerned what you're doing with your genitals.
Right.
Very important.
Oh my God, that really irritates me because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't know how they can square that circle.
I don't know either.
Let's see what Fruit said. I'm glad he said not to force your spouse. Some fundies still are still wholesome supporters of marital and grapes. Yes, grapes. Because yeah, no, I was just reading a post about that the other day, and I can't remember who said it, but they were like, and oh man, how was it worded? They were just like, oh, if somebody forces themselves on, but within a marriage, and I'm like, there's a word for that shit, man. What are you talking about? Like, it was really, just felt messed up to even categorize it that way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's why it's so toxic. And that's like, as I was mentioning before, Lori, the Transform Life, like she preaches that on her platform.
Ugh, really?
Which she's going against the Bible.
Right. According to these people.
Silent.
Yeah.
Like she shames people for how they dress. If you have a job, like women should have careers. They shouldn't have tattoos. I'm failing everything. All this stuff.
Breaking all the rules.
I'm breaking all the rules.
That's what.
But if it pisses Lori off, it makes me kind of happy.
Right? Oh yeah. You're doing pretty good, right? Carrie said Dr. Bird has a book coming out next month about how the world's wife and married are medieval editions. Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes good sense.
Yeah.
Like it comes out of feudalism or some shit, right? I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
Let's see. Warm Food said, yeah, Carrie, laws about adultery throughout most of the Bible are about property rights. Exactly. Whose kid gets what inheritance. It's not about the sanctity of marriage. It's about wives as possessions. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That could not be more starkly obvious if you read the Bible.
Right.
And it's really strange that people, they're like, hey, all the morality in existence came from this book, and we're like, then why are we constantly having to rehab your fucking morality to not be awful all the time? You know what I mean? Like if that's the perfect God saying that this is the perfect morality, why the fuck does it take humans to be like, what the fuck, man? Like why does it take us? This should not be happening this way.
Like right now, if I have a neighbor, then they went to work today.
Right.
I have to go stone them.
Right? Yeah, dude.
And that's in your text, man. And there's and then like it's ridiculous because they cherry pick the things that they want to follow.
Yep.
And then if you point out the contradictions, they have to do these mental gymnastics, the apologetic shit, which makes no sense.
No. Yeah.
Because it's like, no, you want to have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
I always
Exactly.
find that expression whenever I say it, it's like, well, what else am I going to do with the cake? Just a
Yeah.
side note.
You gotta take a piece home, and then I
All
gotta
right.
eat a piece. You know, that's how this goes. All right, a couple more minutes, and then I'll do the sponsor for the episode, and then
Okay.
we'll wrap it
All
up.
things are lawful for me, but not all. But I will not be brought under the power of any.
So
What?
Paul is pretty much saying that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
things are lawful for
Yeah.
me. Is it lawful? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what the first question we
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
the Bible
Mm-hmm.
against it? Is the Bible very clearly against it?
Mm-hmm.
If the Bible is not in the area of marital sexual intimacy,
Mm-hmm.
we have freedom. Now, the second question we want to ask, and that is this: is this beneficial?
Mm-hmm. Does it harm or hinder sexual closeness between two
Mhm.
spouses?
So, does this act, does this
I mean,
particular
isn't being intimate literally supposed to make you just that intimate?
You're
Or
already
am I
naked.
misunderstanding? I know. Am I
You're naked with each
misunderstanding?
other. Like you can't get any closer unless you merge and become like some kind of, monster
A
thing.
putty monster.
But,
Yeah.
a sex monster.
A Stretch Armstrong stuck to another Stretch Armstrong. Yes.
So,
Jesus, that's funny.
like, I don't like. Okay, they're over. I have to remind myself that they're overthinking this, and I don't overthink this much.
I mean, I would
behavior?
refrain from using the word overthink, but I get what you're saying. I see what I'm with you.
Yeah.
That's, no, that's. I mean, I think you're right. They're overthinking this from a very particular perspective. That is, what does the ancient book say about having fun
Like,
with my
yeah.
partner?
What's the ancient book say about doggy?
Yeah, come on, dude. What the fuck? This is so ridiculous. Don't be listening to this book about stuff, man. They couldn't even get the shape of the earth right. Come on. Come on. Get this, be better. It's like, Jesus. But hey, look, and if you want to be better, just go to adamandeve.com and you can have all of the consensual sex that you want. You can use all the toys, watch all the porn. It doesn't actually matter what an ancient book says about sex. So go out and enjoy it. Go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brently. That's Brently at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Just go to adamandeve.com and get that exclusive offer. Get your butt some stuff, Like, I don't know. There's nothing in the Bible I don't think about that says anything about butt stuff. So other than,
No. So
but
I mean,
that doesn't count.
I'm just saying that. I mean, like, if reading from a stupid book is your king, no shame. I'm not
True.
gonna dumb it
Yeah.
I'm not going to dumb any. If you want to, shout, biblical crap while you're orgasming, I have no problem with that.
Right. Yeah. Maybe just believing that it's against the rules makes it hotter. I don't know.
Yeah.
The taboo type of thing, right?
Yes.
So in that sense, I guess more rules would help.
Right.
But, all right. Well, hey, thank y'all so much for hanging out. Thank you so much, Helen, for hanging out. Hey, do you want to tell everybody where we can find you and what you're working on?
Yeah. So I on Monday nights, if you go to recoveringfromreligion.org and sign up for our podcast, I am one of the co-hosts on the podcast with our friend Carl Griffith. Every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, I am on TikTok live through the Atheist community of Austin, and I talk to whoever wants to talk to me. I try to get theists, but it just depends. The algorithm goes.
Yeah. We're all fighting against that algorithm, aren't we?
Yeah, and I have something cooking in the background that I'm not ready to announce yet, but it's coming. So
awesome.
I'm teasing.
Right? Oh, that's great. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. This is awesome. Everybody make sure to go out and subscribe to all of those projects, and we're all waiting to see what you got coming out next. This is awesome.
Yeah. And if you just put my name into the YouTube search bar, I've been on many different podcasts and shit. If you want to hear my deconversion story or anything like that, or my opinions because I have many of them.
Hell yeah. And you'll have to just send me a little list of links, and I'll pop them all into the show notes after we get done here.
Sure.
And yeah, cool. All right. Well, hey, the main thing though is to make sure to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we'll see you next time.